In our developing story, families of the victims of the Synagogue Church of All Nations in South Africa say they will pursue the case to the United Nations to seek justice. If they fail the lawsuit they filed against the Synagogue Church of All Nations, the trustees of the church and the construction companies that built the guest house which collapsed in 2014.
I'm truly cross about the South African government. Our people went there, they were not criminals. They went through the proper channels, through the point of entry with documents, and then they died there. But the South African government said no. They don't want to face Nigeria. With this matter, even if we fail in court, we'll take this matter to UN. Yes, we'll take this matter to UN. Even if I have to go and stand in New York facing the harshest winter in New York and go to the UN General Secretary's office to bring him his attention about this matter, I will do that.
The petitioners say they have engaged the services of a law firm in Lagos to assist in getting the families justice.
We managed to find a law firm in Lagos that will be assisting us with this matter. After going through so many law firms here in South Africa, I can count your Section 27, Helen Suzman Foundation, Weber and Wenzel, Abramowitz in Cape Town. I went there in Cape Town looking for help. No one was willing to assist us. The only people who were willing to assist us was AfriForum. So now we managed to get some information from Weber and Wenzel, and then they told us the matter will prescribe in 6 years. That was last year. I tried to contact some of the families. We did the same together with Mama Usoni, and some of the people kept quiet. We tried to tell them that this thing will prescribe in 6 years. By law in Nigeria, a matter like this will always prescribe in 6 years. If you have done anything or if you haven't done anything about the matter, it will prescribe. You have got no leg to stand on. So we managed to get a lawyer who's assisting us with this matter in Nigeria. So even if there are people who want to join us, other families who are even not aware there's this matter that is in progress, we are appealing to them they can come and join us with this whole thing. It cannot be that seven families are standing up against a church, which is a multi-billion-dollar church, and then 85 the other 75 are quiet. We don't understand why. Yes. After bringing the last 11 bodies, they said no, it's a private matter. My question is, how can it be a private matter if a cabinet meeting was called, a committee was formed, Minister Jeff Khatebe was appointed and given the status of a special envoy, and you send people to Nigeria to collect bodies, and then thereafter it's a private matter. How can it be a private matter? Social services was in our houses giving us counseling, whatever, and then after burying our sister, they said no, it's a private matter. It cannot be a private matter. We are South Africans. The South African government is supposed to support us in this matter. Why are they abandoning us? Are they sacrificing us for companies, for South African companies doing business in Nigeria? Are they doing that? No.
One of the petitioners say the effect of losing family members is more important than the 50,000 rand the families receive every year.
We also said no to that money because that money is not clean at all. It's built upon lies and lies and more lies. To be subdued to believing we are there for you. Firstly, there are children that are underage at that time that they lost both mother and father. They are not being taken care of by synagogue as promised. It's only when this time comes of the 12, they throw that 50,000. Is it to buy us to keep silent? Is it to subdue us more, to fool us more, to say, don't investigate, stop asking questions, we are there? What about those orphans? They're everywhere in South Africa. They lost their mothers. They're now destitute because of this. We are hoping for more families to open their eyes. And South Africans, we are so lazy spiritually. We like to be spoon-fed and to be told, go this way, go there. No, this is the way. And reason for yourself. If a person dies in your own home, a due process needs to be followed. Police needs to be called. Investigations need to be done. This hasn't been done. Families, come and join us. I'm hoping that South Africans and those who lost their loved ones will stand up and join. It's not too late. Last year they were celebrating merely because he thought he has won. Nobody has put a case through. But God made it possible for us to put it just before it ended. So that you can come and join us and seek your justice.
Another of the families say she was disappointed by the televangelist for failing to ensure that justice was served.
I trusted TV Joshua so much with all my life as a Christian, and thinking that he was one. And he had all the money to get the lawyers and get justice for our families. But instead he kept quiet. Not even a single year out of these 7 years, he addressed the families about this incident. Instead, he was telling us that we must take heart and let go. How do you let go? We want to close those graves. We are still waiting for justice. Is there no justice in Nigeria? That's my cry. She had plans. She wanted to see herself as an accountant. When I look at the diaries, I cry all the time. Yes, I want closure and justice for my daughter.
For us as a family, from police and the rest, we want justice. We want closure about the whole thing. Because it cannot simply just go away, give us money or whatever, just go away. No. Yes, we are seeking justice. Whether it's punitive or restorative justice, we need some answers. We are still looking for those answers. We didn't get any from him as well. Because now I'm thinking of what happened, and then why didn't he tell us what happened? Why didn't he come to our rescue? Maybe organize, like she's saying, organize a legal team or something that will give us answers, something. But he left us in a lurch, then just like that.
So why couldn't they tell us all along? Why not tell the truth? If you are a man of God, why not tell the truth? Oh my goodness, this is what had happened in our church. This is a disaster. As a true man of God, I believe if something happens in your own home, everything should stop and say, it's a disaster. People have... No, he continued like nothing has happened.
They say this lasting pain will be difficult to let go, and tell why they want to sue for poor construction work.
I don't think it will take 7 years. Some of us will take this pain into our graves. It's like hanging around our necks like a big black albatross. We are living this pain on a daily basis, because today you forget, 3 hours later maybe you start reliving the whole thing again. You see some of the images, like the recent one in Florida, where there was a building that collapsed. And then you start going back to your whole story again. The whole pain comes back over and over again.
And especially in my case, because we were told that it was the aircraft that bombed the building. And after 2 years, in the very same Lagos, they showed a school, 3-story school building that collapsed. And one of the journalists in Nigeria said, this is how the soil is here in Nigeria, and the equipment that we use to build is not strong. That is why the building collapsed the same. I didn't want to watch that. For 3 days it was showing on TV. Up and until there was this force that was forcing me to go and look. When I look, I said, it felt the same way the accommodation where my daughter was fell. So which means the problem is not the aircraft. Then the problem is the builders and the infrastructure that they are using to build, which means, and she was one of the child that was very scared by nature. I imagine her. Sometimes I would dream of her crying, "Mommy, call my mom, on a dream. Yeah.
First, they were talking about an airplane. Number one, where the church is situated, planes go there, like they pass there every time. So they cannot blame it on a flight. Then we were told, no, we must wait because it's still being investigated. It was a thing of divide and conquer. They tell us one story, then they separate us in groups. If you dare question, like I did, then you get taken off the group. I questioned why there are no news about this. In the whole of Nigeria, it's as if they never died. Images. Look at 9/11. There are images everywhere. Synagogue has cameras each and every corner. But they never gave us anything. Even today, no one is saying anything. You go on YouTube, nothing is there. Why? Why is that? And having a granny that you have to now explain, I don't know what to say to her.
Yeah.
However, one of the families of the victims say it will be an extortion to demand money from the church, for which reason they will not be part of the petition to sue the church. He says Scoan did not err in coming clean with information regarding the collapse of the building.
No, I'm not part of those. The claims that the families are suing the Synagogue Church, no, those claims are not true. Those are false claims. Maybe some, but I'm not part of it. Well, there is absolutely no reason because, number one, Prophet T.B. Joshua was a victim, and the Synagogue Church is also a victim in this matter, together with us. But apart from that, Prophet T.B. Joshua and the Synagogue Church, they did their due diligence in helping us see that the building did not collapse just because of the negligence on their part. All right. If you look at the CCTV footage, that alone is proof enough that you cannot have a building of that nature collapse like that and you blame it on structural failure. Buildings that fall due to structural failure, they do not collapse that way. You cannot have concrete failing the same way from all angles and you call that structural failure. That was a controlled demolition. And we were also invited to synagogue by the prophet. We were taken to the scene of the incident. The experts and as well as the civil engineers were there to explain things to us. We were also given a chance and an opportunity to ask questions, and they were answered those questions and we were satisfied. In fact, one of the things I did not know that when you erect a building, you also check the soil upon which you want to erect the building, whether it's the right soil for the kind of a building you want to build. The civil engineers, they confirmed that even the soil upon which the building was the right kind of soil. They told us that the building, when a building collapses as a reason or as a result of structural failure will always happen on the foundation. The first place to check is the foundation of the building. The foundation columns were exposed to view. They were dug out. They showed us there was no stress found upon them. They were intact. There were no cracks. Even the material that was used to build the guest house that collapsed, it was of strong quality. And to my greatest shock was that the civil engineers, they said, with that kind of a foundation, the building could still go as high as 12 stories high. So they could still add 6 more stories to a building. You know, so the claims that the building fell due to structural failure, I don't buy to that, because a contradicting evidence has been given to me by the Synagogue Church, and I'm satisfied with it. If they claim that the building collapsed due to structural failure, they have to provide us with evidence